Yeah.
But it's scary. It's scary to
Yeah.
make changes. And
It
so where a
is.
health coach comes in is to help you unpack that. And
Right.
I think once you say it out loud, you realize that it's not as scary and it's
Yeah.
actually like really empowering to just bring to the surface the things that you feel are holding you back, the way that you speak to yourself, these shadow parts of ourselves. And I really I mean, in my own experience, I find so much release in bringing things to the surface. And so
Yeah.
I really promote that and want to create like the safest space for courageous truth telling.
Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stephanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to up-level, manifest, and glow.
Hello. Welcome back to the Next Level You podcast. Stephanie Dingbaum here. I'm so excited, you guys. We have such an amazing collab planned for you today. I have a new friend, Allie Jaffe, on today. And before I get into introducing Allie, I just want to do a quick shout out. I know I tell you guys, if you ever leave me a review or send me a DM or give me any feedback on the podcast, I like to do just a brief little shout out at the start of the next show, just to let you know how much I appreciate the feedback. And so if you're a new listener, sometimes hearing the feedback helps you to decide whether you're going to continue to listen or not. So I just want to do a quick shout out to one of my dear friends, Ashley. Actually sent me a text earlier this week. She was driving to work in the morning and she said, I'm listening to your podcast right now on my drive and I can feel the fire from you. And this was in regards to my solo episode last week where we talked all about confidence. And it's so funny because I was recording with somebody earlier in the week and they had asked me how long have you always been this outgoing and confident? And it's funny because I don't consider myself to be outgoing, or I never really considered myself to be that confident, but then I'm getting this feedback from listeners and from friends and everyone's like, gosh, I just love your confidence. And I'm like, well, I guess maybe my next level self is confident, So I just want to let you guys know I really appreciate the feedback. It means a lot. I love hearing how these episodes hit for you guys. I know how it feels to get my story out there, to share my truth with you guys. And it just feels so liberating and free. And I just never know how it's going to be perceived by others, though. So I really appreciate the feedback. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Ashley, for sharing and speaking your truth as well. All right, so let's dive into the collab. Like I said, I have a new friend, Allie Jaffe, with us today. I met Allie through the coaching program that I was doing with Julia Martin back in October through December. And Allie owns Healing Forward. I'm going to let her explain all about Healing Forward, but Allie is doing, you guys, she's doing amazing things in the world of holistic health. And as somebody who has just truly embraced holistic health for the last, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years since doing the fertility journey, I just love when people want to talk about this because we need more people to hear about this. We need more people to be educated on this topic specifically because, I always thought out in California, everyone knows what that is, but that's just not true. Okay. And it's definitely not true here in the Midwest. I feel like I'm still explaining to people all the time about integrative and holistic health practices. And so we need more people to be educated on this topic, which Allie is, and she'll share a little bit about that. But I feel like through this program with Julia, we all became so close. And I know you guys heard me say this in the episode with Savannah Nicholson as well, but we're all just such spiritual beings and we all just connected on a really deep level. And I feel like we all grew significantly in the 12 weeks of working with Julia, and we're maintaining those relationships, which feels so good. And we're all still cheering each other on, which is just, you can never have too many cheerleaders in your corner, especially when you're starting a new business as an entrepreneur. You just can never have too many. And so I feel so grateful to have Allie as one of mine. I love being a cheerleader for Allie. Truth be told, when she puts content out there, I'm like, I'll like mark it. I'll save it in my like, okay, this is gold. I need to make something like this. This is so good. Like her content, you guys follow her on Instagram because it's gold. I'm serious. All right, Allie, I'm going to stop talking. Give an introduction for yourself. Let listeners know a little bit about yourself.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for having me, Stephanie.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be here, and echoing your sentiment. The women in our coaching program, Dream Your Biz, were a really special group of women, and the feelings are so mutual. I'm very inspired by you and very excited to be on your podcast.
Oh, thank you. It means a lot. So tell listeners all about what you do, what Healing Forward is. Share it all with them.
My name is Allie, and I'm from Southern California and now live in the Marina neighborhood in San Francisco. And I recently launched a holistic health coaching practice called Healing Forward Health. And it's a one-on-one coaching service designed for people who are looking to transform not just their physical health, but their mindset, and recognize the interconnectedness of your health. And this practice is deeply inspired by my own healing journey. The name Healing Forward holds a lot of significance for me. In my early adolescence, I suffered from anorexia, and it was a disease that nearly took my life. And through many, many years of different treatment modalities, I'm proud to say that I've been in recovery for about 17 years now. Wow. And it was such a painful experience at the time, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, because it ignited my passion for personal development, mindfulness, and true healing from a place of balance and self-love. And more recently, I've shed about 40 pounds through lifestyle changes that I will take with me through the rest of my life. And this most recent weight loss journey taught me that you can achieve health outcomes from a balanced perspective and a place of self-love. And I'm currently becoming a board certified health coach through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, where I'm studying many different dietary principles, from Ayurveda to hormone balancing to gut health. And it's been a transformative experience and has equipped me with the education needed to support people on their healing journeys. I really feel like this whole business, this whole idea is like to help the younger version of me. And like I said, I'm just very passionate about true healing, going straight to the source, going really deep with people, recognizing the interconnectedness of our emotions and how they can have impacts on our physical health, and how many of us, we're in our own way, with the limiting beliefs and the stories that we tell ourselves. Yeah. And so that's a core tenet of Healing Forward is working through those barriers to achieve your physical health outcomes. And while that was my story in the past of early adolescence, I more recently have also experienced a healing journey and have shed about 40 pounds, but through lasting lifestyle changes that I will take with me through the rest of my life. And approaching health with a very balanced outlook is hugely important to me. My other job outside of launching Healing Forward is working at my husband's ice cream company. So I always like to say that you can have ice cream and achieve your health goals. And I would argue that it's like crucial to approach lasting change with balance.
Yeah. What's the name of his ice cream company again?
It's called Alec's Ice Cream, ALEC. And it is the first and only certified regenerative organic ice cream out there made with gut-friendly A2 dairy. So
Yes.
I definitely promote a balanced approach to nutrition, and there's absolutely a place for high quality sweet treats.
Yeah, yeah. And I know I reached out to you because I was intrigued when I first saw you posting about it. I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is ice cream I can have because I'm dairy free. And then after asking you that, I heard from a couple other people about A2, right? That's what you called it?
Yes. And so
Yeah,
A2 does have lactose in it. It is dairy,
right.
but it more closely mimics like human
Yes.
yes. So it's
Yeah.
much easier to digest in the way that like many people say goat cheese is easier to digest.
Hmm.
Goat cheese is derived from A2 dairy. It's just a special
Yeah.
type of cow.
Yeah. I would be willing to try it because I believe I could handle it. I'm pretty sure I could. So that's
Yeah, I
interesting.
would love for you to try it and report back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I love seeing your posts about it. What an awesome job to, I don't know, just what a dream world to like run your own ice cream business. I just think that sounds amazing. So that's
It
awesome.
is a very fun. I always tell him that, like, thank God that he chose to create an ice cream business and not like an insurance company or something. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, as I'm sure you know, as an entrepreneur, like
Yeah.
it's all consuming. And for
Hmm.
the 6 years that we've been together, I've been along for the ride,
Yeah.
and just thank God it's ice cream because it's a fun
Right.
product to consume your life.
Yeah, I would agree. I love that. And I think it fits perfectly with holistic health and wellness. I mean, like you just
Completely.
preached, it's balance, it's all about balance, right? So you don't
Yes.
have to completely remove the sweets or completely remove ice cream or completely remove dairy. I mean, I think my integrative practitioner always, the two that I've seen have always told me it's not about perfection. It's about 80% of the time try to, but give yourself grace that other 10 or 20% or whatever. If you do the 80-20 rule or 90-10 rule, give yourself grace
Yeah.
ultimately is what it comes down to.
Absolutely. And I would argue that like perfection is not really what would lead to lasting change. You know, you can
Yes.
follow a perfect diet for a few weeks or for a month, but that
Hmm.
approach isn't the most sustainable. And I really promote lasting change. And
Yeah.
so making changes to your diet and nutrition that feel very realistic and
Hmm.
seamless within your lifestyle. Because if it's not something you're going to implement, it's not going to get done. And
No.
so like these quick fixes or an all or nothing approach is not something that I stand by. And then
Yeah.
also just another point on Alec's ice cream. I think that culturally we're in a place now where I think a lot of people are more wanting to allow for indulgence, but like have the best version of the real thing.
Yeah.
Like we kind of reached an inflection point with
Hmm.
plant-based everything. And then you look
Yeah.
at the ingredients and you're like, whoa, that is far from the real thing.
Hmm.
And so I'm proud to be a part of a company that it's a very clean label and it is truly indulgent ice cream, but you can feel good about it in that like it's made from regenerative ingredients that are repairing the planet. So it's good for you and for your stomach with the A2 dairy.
That's so cool. And I love the regenerative part of that because I know we had a conversation through DMs recently about this, but just back in December, my husband and I and a group of friends went to a local documentary. Oh, now I'm blanking on the name. Common
Kiss
Ground.
the ground? Oh, common ground. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, so they had it for free at our local movie theater to try and promote. So they had three farmers there that did a panel after the movie, but they're trying to promote this here in Eastern Iowa more.
Wow.
And I just the documentary was so moving. I literally left there, and my husband and I are not green thumb people by any means. Like I've killed cactuses before. Like we're just not okay. So, and that's fine. But we literally were driving home from that showing, and I was like, I think we need to start a garden. And my
Oh
husband
my
was like, I think
gosh.
you're right. And I'm like, okay, this is big for us. Like and even just the fact of like being in the dirt more, I think that's so important too. So I am
Oh yeah.
getting big about this regenerative stuff because we need more people to know about it.
That's
I love that.
amazing. I mean, we've been in the market for a few years, and regenerative agriculture is a concept that I would say most Americans are not familiar with. So
yeah, which is
awesome.
unfortunate.
Yes. And I mean, we're very optimistic that regen will be the next organic, like it's just the next wave of organic.
Yeah.
But I'm sure in that documentary, it's like, it's really special to meet the farmers, like to meet the people who are making your food. That's amazing. And I really believe that like nature has healing powers. And so that's awesome that it inspired you to want to grow a garden.
We'll see. We'll see if we actually follow through this spring, but like we really should. That movie is so moving. Are you ready to step into your most abundant next level self? What if I told you that what you wear and surround yourself with can actually help you manifest the life of your dreams? That's exactly why I'm so excited to share Future Self Apparel with you. It is a manifestation-focused lifestyle brand designed to empower you with affirmations, intentional products, and daily reminders to live your most abundant life. As a mindset and manifestation coach, I always preach about embodying your future self now. And that's exactly what this brand helps you do. Whether it's through affirmation-infused apparel, high vibrational products, or mindset-shifting reminders, everything Future Self creates is designed to elevate your energy, align you with your desires, and help you become the person you are meant to be. Here's what makes Future Self Apparel so powerful. Every piece is created with intention, infused with positive affirmations and a manifestation energy. Wearing or using these products is a tangible way to embody your highest self daily. It's not just clothing, you guys. It's a mindset shift, helping you stay aligned with your goals and abundance. I've been obsessed with Future Self Apparel as of just recently because it aligns perfectly with the work I do, helping women build confidence, rewire their beliefs, and create the life they've always dreamed of. So, if you're ready to step into your highest timeline and become the future self you've been manifesting, then this brand, this company is for you. Head to the link in today's show notes to shop Future Self Apparel and start living as the most confident, abundant, and aligned version of you. All right. So you kind of explained the whole meaning behind Healing Forward and your approach. So when you work with clients, what does this holistic approach look like? Like how, what would you say like a typical session looks like? What are you all tackling when you say holistic?
Definitely. I would say that my approach is much deeper than perhaps some other integrative nutritionists out there in the world.
Yeah.
And as a holistic health coach, I'm really wanting to get to the root. And my approach, the first phase of the work that I do with clients is really learning their story, learning the health challenges that they're experiencing, their goals, but also really helping them unpack their relationship to themselves, rewiring the limiting beliefs that might be holding them back, better understanding the emotional barriers that you might not realize are having physical manifestations. I believe that work is foundational. And while concurrently we'll talk about like an individualized game plan and habits that you can implement in your day-to-day routine, that core like foundational process is where I really like to start. And that kind of is interwoven throughout the 4-month one-on-one coaching program. And then, like I mentioned, the next phase is identifying that individualized game plan and kind of cutting out the noise of what you think you should be doing, what society's telling you to do, what you see other people doing on Instagram. I mean, we are flooded with information when it comes to health and wellness. And I think that can leave many of us feeling daunted and overwhelmed and discouraged.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
like, I have to buy all these like expensive tools and all these like
Mm-hmm.
supplements. And
Right.
so part of the individualized game plan process is recognizing that like most of us could stand to work on mastering the basics, and those are
Mm-hmm.
not very
Yeah.
sexy, but those are the like foundational things that move the needle.
Yeah.
Proper hydration, getting sunlight first thing in the morning, developing a movement plan that works within your routine,
Mm-hmm.
eating largely whole, unprocessed foods, adequate sleep. Like, these are kind of basic, like,
Yeah.
but few people are implementing these things on a day-to-day basis.
I agree. And even if
So
they are implementing them, so many people are not getting enough sunlight, enough sleep,
yeah,
enough protein, enough strength training, whatever it might be that they're working at movement, whatever. And so, yeah, I completely agree. Even if they're working on it, it's a lot of us aren't getting enough that we need.
yes, absolutely. And I'm all for the tools and the gadgets and the
Mm-hmm.
supplements. Like, I love that stuff, but it's
Right.
not the starting point.
Right.
So I like to spend a good amount of time developing a game plan, and that'll be catered to the person's needs and goals. If nutrition is more of their focus, like, we'll work on meal plans together. We'll talk about meal prep tips,
Mm-hmm.
swaps, all that stuff. Versus if movement's more of your focus, we'll cater the plan to the person's needs. And then the last phase of the work together is execution. And so we like act on the game plan that we develop together, and you'll have me as your accountability partner, a sounding board, someone to encourage you to see it through and commit to those practices.
I love it. I love that. Okay. And you said it's a 4 month program that you offer?
Yes, I have a few
Awesome.
different tiers, but the
Okay.
like tier one signature program is a 4 month coaching container with
Perfect.
biweekly calls. But I am, readily available in between those sessions.
Yeah.
I found that with the work that I'm looking to do with people, that longer coaching container, but allowing for more space for people to practice what we talk about and like
Yeah.
take the training wheels off. But sometimes if you're all in on this healing journey and you're like, oh my God, I need to overhaul my life. And like that can be
Mm-hmm.
kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, it
And so,
can.
having space in between sessions to allow clients to test out what we're practicing and reflect on it with journal prompts. I've found that formula is really resonating for people.
I love that. That's beautiful. And what's so great about the integrative and holistic health world is you're truly, people sometimes get hung up on the price, especially around here. Like I switched primary care providers a year ago to a local integrative health clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And when I recommend that to people, they're always like, well, they don't accept insurance. And I'm like, yeah, but they're getting to the root cause. So like, does cost really matter at the long run? But, and I understand everybody's price issues are different, and I respect that. However, when you look at what you spend on medications or antibiotics, what you spend on walk-in clinic visits, the amount of time in a year you spend going to the clinic or to a doctor, I don't know, like things just add up so fast, and I guarantee you're actually spending more. Granted, insurance is helping, but I still
Absolutely.
guarantee you're spending more. Versus I've been doing integrative health now for 4 years, and I maybe go twice a year. I mean, I haven't had to go to a walk-in clinic for 2 years. I mean, like there's benefits to looking at it. Like, this is an investment in your future health, and that's huge. I mean, I don't think you can put a price tag on that. And along with that, it's like when I think about the amount of time that my practitioner spent with me, I mean, my first session with her was almost 2 hours long. And like you're talking, she literally, like, she went in depth on like past trauma, what the environment was like growing up in my childhood home. She wanted to know things spiritually about me, emotionally, how I handle my emotions, what my typical like coping skills are, what my self-care routine looks like right now. Like, you dig so deep, which I'm assuming is similar to what you do. And I just remember walking
Absolutely.
out of that first appointment feeling like, oh my God, this woman knows me better than my PCP that I've been seeing for the last however many years. Like, seriously, it's so amazing. And I trust her because, like you, she's here to get to the root cause. We're not looking to put a Band-Aid fix on any of these issues. And
Totally.
I don't know, like, you just can't put a price tag on that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that. And it's amazing that you have firsthand experience with it too. I would say that health coaches fill a critical gap in our healthcare system.
Yeah.
Like, we're not here to replace doctors or fill that need, but we are like motivational experts. You know, we're bringing in many different aspects of your life, as you mentioned, our past, our traumas, our relationship to self, the way that we speak to ourselves, your health history. You know, part of working with me is a very in-depth health history form. And the health history of your relatives, like, it's all so integrated, coupled with like, what are the challenges that you're seeing right now? What are your gaps and what are your dreams? What is the dream state of your like most highest well-being self?
Yeah.
And that level of depth and like making clients feel seen and heard and hopeful. A client I worked with recently, left an amazing testimonial, and she was like, health no longer feels scary to me. And I'm like, yes, that's amazing.
Yes.
That's soul.
Okay. That's huge. Actually, that is so big. It's funny you bring that up because I didn't realize. So our local clinic is connected to our local hospital. And I didn't realize until last year when I opened my private practice that I was carrying some fear with going to see my primary care provider. This was before I switched over. And it didn't hit me until I went in. I think it was just, I don't know, for like my thyroid blood work or something. It wasn't anything big I was going in for, but I was sitting in the waiting room and I do not pick my nails. Okay. Like, that's just not something I do. I take pride in my long nails. And I'm sitting in that waiting room and I'm just like ripping my nails to shreds. And I'm like, by the time I got called in, I had no nails left. And I was just like, what just happened? Like, why did I do that? And then I recognized, like, you are feeling anxious right now. Yeah. And after I sat on that for a couple of days, I think it was one of my girlfriends when I was talking to her about it. And I was like, I don't understand what my issue was. I'm not afraid to go to the doctor. But then we were talking about my past, and the hospital, the clinic where I go to, is where I was first taken to by ambulance when I broke my neck 6 years ago. And so she actually pointed out, like, I wonder if you're still carrying some fight or flight emotions connected to when you were taken into the ER there, because it's all the same place. And it kind of got me thinking, like, oh my God, I bet I do, because that place, I mean, that was a life or death experience for me. And so even if you haven't had an experience like that, even if, like, growing up, going to the doctor, knowing like you're going to get shots or like it's this scary place, like, regardless of what the reason is, it made me realize that a lot of people do carry fear with going there.
Absolutely.
And that's not good. You know?
Yeah, that's, your experience is very common. And I commend you for recognizing, like, oh, where am I experiencing it in my body? And, you know, getting curious about, I wonder why I got so anxious. Like, that's really powerful stuff. I would say that fear extends to other aspects of our health as well. I've had clients that, like, have fears of going into an open gym. Like, that's a very intimidating place for a lot of people. You know, other fears about, like, making changes to your nutrition. Like, if you're experiencing binge eating or, you know, excessive amounts of sugar, these things that, like, we carry fear around and we know, like, aren't serving us, but it's scary. It's scary to make changes. And so where a health coach comes in is to help you unpack that. And I think once you say it out loud, you realize that it's not as scary, and it's actually like really empowering to just bring to the surface the things that you feel are holding you back, the way that you speak to yourself, you know, these shadow parts of ourselves. And I really, like, in my own experience, I find so much release in bringing things to the surface. And so
Yeah.
I really promote that and want to create like the safest space for courageous truth telling.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful. And what's really cool about having a health coach in your neck of the woods, regardless of what package you maybe sign on to work with one, is like you mentioned earlier, they have access to you even between sessions, even between calls. Whether, I don't know if you use Voxer, if you use Telegram or whatever, but like you don't get that with typical practitioners,
Mm-hmm.
And so if, in a world where like, everyone's doing these different diets or whatever to lose weight, if you're trying something new, if you're trying a new workout plan, or you're trying maybe you're trying to increase your protein and maybe you're hitting a wall in your week, you can't just call up your primary care provider and be like, gosh, I'm trying to increase protein, but this is so freaking hard. Well, you can call Allie, you can Telegram Allie and just be like, please help me with this. I don't want to keep hitting this wall every day. What's something different I can do? You don't get that. And you're an expert in the field. So how great to have access to that expert on the days between your calls. Like you just don't get that anywhere else, So that's huge.
I really appreciate you saying that. And I think a lot of the magic happens in between the sessions because we can talk about all these amazing tools and tips and tricks, but once you start, trying to implement them into your routine and you start getting the data or the feedback of how it feels, or life circumstances get in the way, you have a crazy work week, you have kids that life is always going to be throwing us curveballs. And so it's not about having the perfect routine. It's about building your resilience and acquiring the tools to be the best version of yourself, and having the access to someone in between the sessions to check in on you, motivate you, support you, give you little tools where needed. I agree with you. It's like a really special part of working with a health coach.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's beautiful. So I'm just curious personally about you. I know you mentioned you went through your own health journey, but like, have you always, like, you've very much to me since day one have come off as like this very spiritual person. Have you always been like very spiritual, or has that been kind of like a byproduct of your healing journey?
It's so funny you say that. I think most of my life I've been a closeted spiritual type. I've always been, somewhat open to it. I've always been passionate about holistic health, and like in my own healing journey, I've tried many different modalities, a lot of which are in the more spiritual realm, or like somatic healing and all of that. So I was very open to it, but more through the lens of like personal development.
Okay.
And since I've embarked on this path for myself, I'll also share, my career background prior to launching Healing Forward was in big tech. I was a corporate girly. I worked in ad sales at Twitter, DoorDash, and Spotify. And so that's not exactly an environment where like we're talking about spiritual concepts.
Right. Also very masculine.
Yes, very masculine. And I do have that side of me. I am a go-getter. I'm very type A. I think that's why I was drawn to Julia Martin and her program, Dream Your Biz. She definitely attracts women who are go-getters, but also very spiritual.
Yes, she does.
So she's been an expander to me in that way. But I kind of want to tell a story that
go there.
Yes. So as part of Dream Your Biz, we all met with this incredibly talented spiritual medium named Jessica Rachel.
Oh, I'm going to put her information in the show notes. I'm so glad you're telling us. Okay.
Yes. So last year was a big year of change for me. I got married. I started a new job in tech. I left that job. I started going back to school for integrative nutrition through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. I started working at my husband's ice cream company. I joined this Dream Your Biz group coaching cohort. I converted to Judaism, which is like another part of my spiritual journey.
Wow.
So much change. But a lot of it was kind of catalyzed by, well, one, marriage and like any big life transition and chapter, I think is very clarifying in like helping you identify what matters to you, how you want to spend your time, who you want to spend your time with. So I got married last March, and that certainly did that for me. And about a week after I got married, and it was the day before I was starting a brand new job, which it was a shiny tech job. It was a level up pay wise, title wise, like their headquarters was in San Francisco. It checked every box on paper of like what I thought I should be doing. And if you looked at my resume, that was the trajectory. Enter Jessica Rachel. I had like literally the night before I'm starting this new job, I meet with her. And she's a very talented spiritual medium who connects with your spirit guide and channels them and basically tells you like what your life's purpose is. And her ability to get very specific and almost like your spirit guide maps out your business plan for you is what the experience that many of us women in Dream Your Biz had. It was wild. And at the time I was like, whoa, that was interesting, but like a bit alarming because I'm starting a new job the next day. But she basically told me, she was like, your purpose in life is to help others heal themselves and essentially heal forward. She's like, you get kind of agitated with quick fixes and Band-Aid solutions, and you want to create lasting change for people. And it was crazy to hear that because I had been toying with the name Healing Forward for months. And she basically just illuminated to me what I knew to be true deep down inside of me. But at that time, I wasn't quite ready to step into that. But she told me, she's like, oh, don't worry. You're going to be on your journey within 6 months. And I kid you not, I parted ways from my job in big tech after 5 months.
Wow.
And now here we are, and I've launched Healing Forward, and so cool. It is so aligned. I listen to the recording from that session like very often, especially when I'm feeling like shaky about the path.
Good idea.
Yeah. So long-winded way of saying like, I am full woo now. I own it. I embrace it. And I actually feel like it's, in talking to friends and people in my community, there's a lot of people that are very spiritually curious. And I hope to be an expander or a conduit in that way where I can share my story. And I just like, I'm all about it now. I'm so open. I want the universe to give me all the signs.
It's funny because as you were starting to tell that, I had to take my earbud out because my left ear was ringing. So spirit must have been like, yep, share. I was like, oh my God, stop. I can't right now. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I was like, okay, that's a good sign. I love that you share that, Allie, because for me personally, and I'm assuming a lot of people probably feel this way, but I want a practitioner, a coach, whatever, who is spiritual, because I'm not going to be able to connect with you at the level that I need if you're not. And, you know, for me, the integrated practitioner that I see after having my session with Jessica Rachel, where she told me that there was a spirit baby in my aura who was ready to come through. I actually told my integrated practitioner that, and she was and one of the things that came through my session was that you need to practice channeling. You have this channeling ability. It's time to hone in on that. And spirit baby will not come through until you really hone in on that ability. And so I told my practitioner that, and she was like, so I guess we're going to start channeling then, right? And I was like, I mean, yeah, like when it feels authentic and aligned, yes, I'm going to. But it's cool that, you know, if I were to say that to my previous primary care provider, she probably would have, I don't know, she probably would have looked at me pretty weird. But that's what I think is also important about, I mean, I've never met a holistic or integrative practitioner who is not spiritual. Yeah. Because I think that's just, that goes along with it. You've probably been on a spiritual journey, and that's what's led you to what you're doing today.
Completely.
You know, when you do the whole body health thing that includes your spiritual health. So I'm not surprised that most are open to that, but I think it's
Yeah.
important. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever want to practice channeling and need a guinea pig, I volunteer myself as tribute.
I really should. I need to be practicing more. I'm in this space where it's like when I feel like doing it, I do it. I'm not, typically in the fertility journey, when a practitioner would tell me like, you need to take magnesium, you need to do this, you need to increase protein, I would do it, and I would do it religiously. Like that perfectionist shadow would come out big time. But with being told that Spirit Baby wants to come through once I channel more, I'm kind of just like, I'll do it when I get the nudge or when it feels aligned and right, but I'm not going to do it religiously every single night like I would with everything else I would be told in the past. Like I'll do it when I feel like the timing is right.
That is such a powerful thing that you mentioned. And honestly, for myself, like it's one of the hardest parts. And I think that deepening my spirituality has helped me strengthen it a bit, but it's like a full like trusting and surrendering and allowing for life to unfold. And it's not like you're just going to sit on your butt. Like that's not what it is, but it's an inner knowing that like life is going to unfold exactly as it's supposed to. And the universe has a plan for me. And that like, when you can access that inner peace, like it's such a transformative thing. And so I love that you said that it's like, like when I feel the nudge, when I feel the ping, and honestly, I think that pings or signs that we get from the universe are really coming from within.
I agree.
And that they're appearing or manifesting in our physical world when we are unblocked enough and open enough internally to notice them.
Yeah.
I mean, like an example for myself, like I mentioned, was working in ad sales, and all my husband and I do is talk about Alec's ice cream because we're both so passionate about it. And we were at dinner with friends, and a friend of mine was like, Allie, you are so passionate about this. You speak so eloquently about Alec's ice cream. Why don't you just work there? And it was like the opportunity hiding in plain sight. Like it never even crossed my mind. And I believe that I heard that because I was ready to make that transition and, take the risk and join the family business.
That's awesome. Wow. That's really cool. I agree. And I think when you're on a healing journey, if you are still battling that perfectionist shadow, then anytime a coach or a practitioner tells you do X, Y, and Z, like for me, it was like, increase your magnesium, do daily strength training. I don't know, whatever else, increase your water intake. And it's like, if you try to do those things, if you try to follow those instructions, like perfectly, which we can't, like, cause life happens, right? But if you haven't faced that shadow part of yourself, that perfectionist shadow, and you're telling yourself like, I'm going to do what she told me to do perfectly, you're actually stressing your body out and you're stressing your mind out even more. So you're actually not going forward. You're not healing forward technically because you're stressing your mind and body out because you're telling yourself, I have to do this perfectly per instructions of my practitioner. And, let's also point out that we put practitioners up on pedestals. So, the power of suggestion is huge. And so I just want people to hear that because I've been in that place where I did not confront that shadow part of myself. And I thought, I'm going to do everything they tell me by the book. And then I had it pointed out to me by, I think a shamanic healer had told me, like, you're actually harming yourself more than you think you're healing yourself because you're telling yourself, I'm going to do it by the book. You have to face that shadow and you have to be okay with imperfection and inconsistency. And it actually has been the best thing for the healing journey. So people need to hear that.
I really appreciate you saying that. And it's crucial. And I would say that I don't know if all holistic health coaches are promoting that, but like I believe in that so deeply. And that like a reframe that I'll often offer clients who are feeling like so daunted and overwhelmed by having to do everything perfectly or overhaul their life is healing is a lifelong journey. And so relieve yourself of that pressure to have it all figured out right now. Because actually, like to your point, your nervous system can't handle it all at once. And so let's chip away at it. Let's start at the most important things. But you're gonna fail. You're gonna have good days and you're gonna have bad days, and those days don't define you because it's a lifelong journey, and it's all in an effort to become our most authentic selves. So you're gonna find the tools that work best for you, that speak to you, the movement practice that brings you the most joy, because that's what it's all about. I mean, it's about improving your relationship to yourself, becoming your truest version of yourself. And I'll also add that, there's been many phases of my healing journey where, I mean, you're looking at like a perfectionist, like that has been a huge shadow for me, and an ongoing one. Yeah. And so I've always been very into health and wellness, and it has often teetered into obsession where it's like, I'm going really hard in the gym. I'm afraid to go out. I'm afraid to indulge. That's not what it's about. But I will say that once I adopted a balanced approach, I'm in the best shape of my life. And that's like physically, emotionally, spiritually, as we've said, it's all integrated. But I'm out here having ice cream several times a week, listening to my body, like taking rest days. And that has led to better outcomes than burning myself to the ground and super intense regimen.
I completely agree. Yeah, this is gold. People need to hear this stuff. Yeah, I feel like so many people are like us, that they struggle with that perfectionist shadow. And it's like, oh, you're really hurting yourself more than helping yourself. And I'm glad you brought up like how the nervous system plays into that even. Because ultimately that's a huge factor, I feel. So I can relate to everything you're saying. I mean, that's a really hard shadow to overcome.
Yeah. I think a lot of women can. And I think that prospective clients, there's definitely a certain type of woman that I've been attracting.
So who is she? Who's your ideal client? Share.
I would say that she's a go-getter and ambitious and has a full life, but maybe has deprioritized her health, whether that's career, kids, just life getting in the way. Maybe they don't have the best relationship to themselves as far as their like emotional well-being, the way that they speak to themselves. Maybe they're just overwhelmed, as I mentioned, with information overload in the wellness industry. And it's just like, God, like where to start? And so I want to serve as a guide and a partner to help sift through the noise and help women become their most authentic selves.
Okay, so if you're listening right now and you just heard that description and you're sitting in your car or you're walking your dog and you're like, holy freaking shit, she just described me. Okay, go into the show notes and reach out to Allie. I mean, seriously, because that's pretty much what I did when I first found Julia. I think I was listening to one of her podcasts and I'm like, she's literally speaking to me. I have to work with this woman. So
girl,
that's why
same.
I say that.
Literally same. And I'll also say like some of the common like physical manifestations that I see with this, type of person is gut issues, digestion issues, anxiety, lethargy, irritability. And you mentioned nervous system regulation. I think that not enough people are talking about how important that is to a healing journey. And I think many of us are living in fight or flight and don't even know it.
Oh my gosh, so many people.
Like that's our normal.
I know,
and so I would say that those are like the most common physical symptoms that I see that are deeply interconnected to the more emotional, spiritual, mental things that I mentioned.
Okay. So if somebody comes to you and maybe they're just wanting help on like creating like a personalized wellness routine, let's say, what would be some go-to tips that you would suggest that they incorporate into their life if it feels aligned?
Yeah. I mean, before I work with anyone, I have like a very extensive intake form, and one part of it that is much more like spiritual, emotional, mental, and then like a true deep dive health history intake form. So I say that because like I think that everyone's journey is very, very individual. So I'll just caveat with that. I believe that most of us could stand to master the basics. And so I think that everyone, that can apply to everyone, like, and an easy way to think about incorporating new habits, I think, is through morning and evening routines. Because how you start your day is, sets the tone for the rest of your day, and how you end your day is going to impact the start of your day. So, morning and evening routines are like a really important place that I feel many of us can take inventory and adopt some small tips and tricks. So yeah, I would say some like just quick things that we could all benefit from in the morning. Getting sunlight in our eyes, it sets our circadian rhythm. Getting outside, grounding in nature. I would encourage everyone to do that. It has done wonders for my circadian rhythm. And I actually find that I don't need coffee like I did first thing in the morning. I used to roll out of bed and like crave that cup of coffee. And now I crave sunlight. And that would be another tip is, if you can, delaying caffeine intake. Because when you have caffeine on an empty stomach, first thing in the morning, you're spiking your cortisol. And then it can lead to, crashes later in the day, craving more caffeine. It's been a game changer for me and my clients to delay caffeine intake. And I recommend having caffeine with food too. It kind of offsets that like, jittery, shaky feeling. And to that end, I would recommend a nourishing breakfast. Many of us don't have breakfast.
I know.
And I know that like intermittent fasting is a big thing. And if that works for you, wonderful. But I think a lot of us women could benefit from having a protein-packed breakfast and fueling your body earlier in the day. Really like helps level like your satiety levels, gives you sustained energy throughout the day. So morning sunlight, delaying caffeine intake, and getting a nourishing protein-packed breakfast, like those are 3 small wins that really can set your day up for success.
Okay. And then I want to add to that because I feel like I've mastered my morning routine. Like I'm so content with my morning routine. It has all of that in it.
I love it. I want to hear it.
My evening routine now is like, I freaking love it. I so look forward to getting home from work because I love my evening routine. So
that's incredible. I'm dying to hear what they are. Tell us.
Yeah. So when I get home, so every other day, I would say my husband and I tend to like fluctuate. One day I walk the dog. The other day he does. And while he walks the dog is when I do my strength training. And then immediately after that, because I'm usually pretty grounded, that's when I do my meditation. While I'm doing meditation, I do red light therapy at the same time because it's on a timer. And so I'm doing that usually. I do it for 30 minutes. So I do it on my scalp, my eyes, and then I do it on my stomach. And then after my meditation, I do my gratitude and affirmations. I have them recorded on my phone, so I just listen to them. And then we the only problem with our evening routine is like we eat pretty late. Not a good thing. We eat like right before bed. But we don't have kids yet, and that's just the routine we've been in for the last 7 years of our marriage. So but that's my evening routine and I freaking love it. So like if I'm not necessarily getting the sunlight, like, but I am every morning when I walk the dog, but it's usually like every other day I'm either getting outside walking the dog or I'm doing strength training, and incorporating that red light has been a freaking game changer in my routine. I love it so much. And then sometimes I try to incorporate castor oil, but more often than not, I do that on my work from home days. I'll do the castor oil pack while I'm like doing coaching calls or something. So yeah, those habits, while they might seem like little to some people, the meditation has been a game changer in my life for
Oh yeah.
my mental health, my spiritual health, and probably my emotional health. I mean, that has just been huge for me. And I don't know, it's still early in the red light therapy game, but I'm excited to see how that benefits me. I feel like it's helped me even like when I have cramps around that time of the month. It's
Oh
helped me in a
yeah.
big way. So
Well,
yeah,
I
those are
also love the habit stacking you're doing, meditating
yes.
while sitting
Yeah.
by the red light. Like
Yeah.
that's amazing. And
Yeah.
I think like to distill down like what it seems like your morning routine entails, it's like movement and mindset.
Yeah.
And those are two wins. And what I shared as like game changers for me, identifying for yourself what those
Yes.
small wins are and what feels good to you. And if you have 3 kids, like what's realistic when you have three
Yeah.
kids? So, but
Yeah.
like the themes of movement and mindset in the morning, like that's crucial.
Yeah.
And I love what you mentioned about your evening routine. And I think all of us could benefit from meditation. And many
I
of us,
totally
like,
agree.
when you don't have the stimuli, when it gets quiet, that can be uncomfortable for a lot of people.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
so I think it's an amazing opportunity for not just nervous system regulation, but self-inquiry.
Yes. Yeah. And, if you're a mom of littles, like teach them the art of meditation too. Like have
Yes.
them sit with you. If it's right before bedtime, have them sit down with you and practice closing their eyes and being still and there's no screens around. And I mean, what a great activity to do as a family. And you're modeling such great self-care for your kids.
Yes.
So, I mean, I know meditation is probably a really hard one for moms of littles, but bring them along for it. I mean, I'm sure ideally as a mom, you'd want to do it without the kids. I get that. But, if that's not possible, just have them be a part of it.
Yeah. I mean, I have some amazing walking meditations that I love. So
Awesome.
and movement can be
Yes,
meditation. Like
I
meditation can
agree.
take many different forms. It can be in the form of breath work and somatic work and just giving yourself those little moments. And I loved what you said as advice for mothers. And I just want to caveat, while I'm not a mom, I
Right.
do agree and believe that to embody these, taking care of yourself is an amazing lesson for kids
Yeah.
and enables you to be the best version of yourself when you're
Yeah.
filling up your own cup in those tiny moments that you can.
Yeah. I agree completely. Wow. Okay. Allie, I can't believe we're almost to the end of the hour. I feel like I could just keep talking about this. This is so
I know. I feel like we
fascinating.
barely scratched the surface.
I know. I told Savannah this too. I'm like, we can do a part 2 down the road. Like there probably should be. We should just probably put that out there so people can expect it. But
Fabulous.
I'm just curious, is there anything that you want listeners to know? Like, do you have any, I mean, you just launched your coaching business. Are you still open to clients? Are you still accepting clients? I'm assuming in the state of California, if you are.
Yes. Yes. So I hope that when this airs, my website will be live. I am so
Cool.
close to launching.
Cool.
And
Yay.
I can't wait for it to be out in the universe because it's been on my heart for many, many years.
Awesome.
And I am on Instagram. I've been posting a bunch of content, which has been really fun.
Wow,
And
your
something
content
I
is so
had a
good.
bit of a limiting belief around. And
Really.
just these past few months, I'm thankful that I've let go of that because it's been really fun to put myself out there in that way. So my Instagram handle is Healing Forward Health. I also have a Substack where I share my thoughts, point of view on wellness trends, a lot of tips and insights and stories that have guided me on my path of healing forward. So my Substack is called Healing Forward. I'm on TikTok. That's a little bit more unhinged, and that's Healing Forward Health. And then, my website is launching any minute now. And to just share a little bit about my offerings, So I'm working one-on-one with clients. I have my signature offering of a 4-month coaching container with biweekly calls and access to me in between those calls, many different resources, meal plans, journal prompts, movement plans, meditations. I have a large breadth of resources that I can't wait to share with people in between those sessions. I'm also offering some lower tier options as sort of introductory packages or continuation practices. So my tier 2 offering is a pack of 3, where if you're not quite ready to commit to the full Healing Forward experience, we can do more of just an audit of your health history, talk about some mindset things, but not quite as in depth as the 4-month coaching container. And then I'm also offering an hour-long health consult where we can just unpack, dive deep into a particular topic, or if something's really top of mind for you and you just want the aid of a health coach to sift through the noise and figure out a game plan, I'm offering an hour-long health consults. And then separately, I'm also offering corporate wellness consulting and wellness workshops. As a former corporate girly in big tech, I have a lot of firsthand experience of being someone who prioritizes my health and wellness while also balancing a very demanding job. And so I want to offer that support to corporate girlies. If you are a business owner or, part of a team that you want to have Healing Forward experiences, transformative experiences in the form of workshops or incorporating the tenets that I really promote in your workspace, I'm available for that. And that's a very tailored offering to the needs of specific corporations, but really excited to bring that into the world as well.
Yeah, that sounds so awesome. You have so much to offer, Allie. I'm so impressed. Wow, you've done a lot of work.
Thank you so much.
It's so cool. And like I said before, your one-on-one coaching, that's primarily in the state of California, correct?
I actually don't know if there are restrictions for health coaching that it needs to be in California.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. Or maybe I was thinking that like it would only be restricted if like somebody was requesting like lab work or something.
Right. And that's kind of, outside of my zone of genius.
Oh,
it is. I'm happy to like look at them and have that inform a game plan. I would recommend that be, consulted with your doctor, but I'm not limited to only clients in California. I can
awesome.
Globally.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay. So anywhere across the world.
Yes.
Really? That's so awesome. Cool. Love it. All right, guys. So if any of this, anything that you heard today intrigues you, or you think that you would be, if you think, oh, I'm her ideal client, then you should reach out to her. She has so many different offerings. If you're not wanting to do the 4-month offering, you have other options out there. Maybe just set up a call with her and pick her brain and see if she thinks you'd be a good fit to work with. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. I've done a coaching call with Allie, and you guys, she's so good. I mean, I couldn't even believe just from your intake paperwork. I was like, this is so thorough. It's amazing.
Thank you. It's interesting how much can come up in those intake forms. Wow, it's a good opportunity for self-inquiry. And I'll also add, Healing Forward is in its very nascent stages. And I'm so excited to have it out in the world. But as such, I'm offering like very competitive, I guess, or lower pricing as I'm, getting my foot wet as a coach. And so, if this interests you or intrigues you at all, I recommend setting up a discovery call. I'm so passionate about healing work. I truly believe that it's my calling in life. And so I'm very open to working with people. And like I mentioned, my pricing is, pretty competitive right now because I'm just launching and very eager to be out in the world.
Yeah, I can definitely I made mine lower right now intentionally, but it's like it's probably going to go up in 6 months. So I told everybody in my last solo episode, even if you don't want to work with me right now, but you think you might want to later in 25, just lock it in now at this price, because I'm probably going to increase it come July. So it's never going to be this low ever again. So it's a steal for sure. But that's also part of, being a new coach and having a new program. Like, I think that's pretty typical, but yeah, I'm not going to sell myself short for too long. Like,
totally. And to that point, I'll also mention I have my years and years of personal experience, but I'm also back in school studying integrative nutrition through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is like the gold standard of in the health coaching industry. It's a curriculum that's been around for 40 years. It's the oldest there is. And as part of that, there's a board certification process. So while I'm currently in school, I'm launching Healing Forward. But I just want to mention that I am getting board certified as a holistic health coach. And as you know, the world of coaching is a bit of a wild west. So I do think it's important to share that, like, I am equipping myself with the knowledge and education necessary to help people on their healing journeys, in addition to all of the many tools that I've developed along the way in my own personal journey.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that for listeners. That's amazing. I forgot that you're going to school.
Yes, it's so much fun. And I really do feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. The curriculum is very holistic. It's integrating mind, body, spirit, and functional medicine, Ayurveda, hormone imbalances. So it's an amazing blend of, all the things that we talked about.
So cool. So cool. And I want you to let me know when you have merch, because I seriously love that embroidered shirt so much. I'm like, I want a baby tee that says Healing Forward.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. Yes. Merch.
It's so cute.
Potentially a launch event to come. So I'll be sure to keep you posted.
Cool. All right. I end all my collabs with some rapid fire questions, Allie. So what is a small habit or ritual that makes you feel like your next level self?
Morning sunlight.
I love that. What is your favorite way to raise your energy when you're feeling off?
Journaling, free writing, and allowing for whatever comes up to put it on the page. And usually a lot of clarity comes from that exercise.
I love journaling. I agree. What is one piece of advice that you'd give to your younger self? That could be deep for you.
Yeah. Be kind to yourself and trust that life is going to unfold exactly as it's supposed to, and it's going to be so much better than you even imagined. And that life doesn't have to be so hard. You don't have to be so hard on yourself all the time.
Yeah. Just trust. Like, that's so hard as a young girl. That was so hard to just trust that everything was going to work out. Just that word. I think that's a big lesson for girls, younger girls. What's the most recent aha moment that shifted your perspective?
I was actually talking to my mother-in-law a few days ago, and she's also very spiritual. So we were doing a bit of like spiritual ping pong.
I love that.
I had the epiphany about signs that we receive from the universe, pings, all those things that are external. And I realized, like, whoa, those are actually coming from within. And that when we receive signs from the universe, I believe that it's something inside of us that is unblocked and is ready to be seen and acknowledged and come to the surface. And so that was like a huge realization for me, that like all these little signs we get, I believe, are coming from within.
Yeah. So you mentioned that earlier, and I was like, I think I needed to hear that a second time, because I didn't really take it in like I did just now. But yeah, that's so interesting, because last weekend I was getting signs like none other. And so thinking about it from that perspective is totally different than where I was thinking about it last weekend. Was like, thank you, Spirit. Okay. Like,
I mean, I think about my our readings with Jessica Rachel, like all that she brought to the surface, I believe were things that were inside of me. Like she was just kind of bringing to the surface my deepest desires in my intuition.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah. Huh. That's so interesting. I feel like I need to digest that a little bit more. All right. Last one. What is one thing that you're currently working on manifesting in your life?
Ooh. Wow.
If anything. I mean, obviously a thriving coaching business.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the most obvious and the most pressing. Yeah. I also have big dreams for Alec's Ice Cream, being on the marketing team. And we have some amazing product launches coming out in April. And I'm manifesting some big PR moments and incredible sales for Alec's Ice Cream. Because that is my other passion besides healing forward.
That's so cool. I love that. I love that you guys are doing that together. That's awesome.
Family biz.
Yeah. Allie, thank you so much for agreeing to come on. I didn't even need my notes in front of me. Like, I just feel like we organically just flowed so well. And I just think there's so much gold in this episode that listeners need to hear, especially, it's been over a month now since we started the new year, but a lot of people start off the new year with these health goals, and then going into February, they typically tank them. And so they need to hear this from somebody like you. And it's never too late to pick back up on those health goals. And if that's something that you started the year with, and maybe you feel like you fell off the bandwagon going into February, you can pick right back up. March 1st can still be like a new year. Like, you can work with Allie, you can get that support, that accountability. You can start those goals right back up. There's never, you can start anytime. It doesn't have to be January 1st. And so if you're wanting help with getting those health goals up and running, and mental health goals, spiritual health, emotional health, all the things, reach out to Allie, because I don't think you will regret it at all. So
I love that you ended on that. That's so powerful. And, based in California, I'm from LA. LA is hurting right now. 2025 has been off to a crazy start for many of us in California. And so my heart goes out to the people affected by that. And yes, I mean, taking care of our health is a lifelong journey. It can begin tomorrow. And even when life is lifing, when, curveballs get thrown your way, that's arguably the most important time to come back to self and come back to the health practices that make you feel your best.
I agree. Yeah. When life feels just completely out of control, despite what limiting beliefs you may have, you do have the ability to control your health and wellness, and you can take control of that right now, today, just baby steps, and reach out to Allie, have a coach by your side through the journey. Again, you will not regret it. So thank you, Allie, for coming on. Thank you for sharing all of your words of wisdom with my listeners. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Stephanie. It was an honor.
Awesome. Well, you guys, if any of this really resonated with you, don't hesitate to DM me, DM Allie. I love to hear what people get from these episodes. So please bother me. I love being bothered, especially when it comes to the podcast. Like I said at the beginning, I just love hearing feedback from listeners. So, all right, until next time, I will talk to you guys next week.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self, and I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on socials so we can keep spreading the next level you energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go!